All right, today we're diving into something pretty radical that LinkedIn is pioneering. It's a whole new way of building products, specifically for the age of AI. And trust me, this isn't just some new workflow, it's a complete rethink of how teams are structured, and it might just be the blueprint for the future of your career. Okay, let's just jump right in with a number that should really grab your attention. This comes straight from LinkedIn's own data. By 2030, a whopping 70% of the skills your job requires today will have changed. That's right. Your job is fundamentally changing, whether you're planning on switching careers or not. So this massive skill shift, it's really just a symptom of a much bigger issue. We've hit a point where the speed of change is just way faster than our ability to keep up. And you see it everywhere. Companies that were built for a slower, more predictable world are now really struggling. I mean, think about it. At any big company, what used to be a pretty straight line from a cool idea to a product launch has just exploded. It's now this tangled mess of sub-steps, reviews, handoffs, and different teams that just grinds everything to a crawl. And the sheer amount of information we're dealing with is just out of control. LinkedIn found that for just one product decision, you might have to dig through 10 to 15 different sources of information. We're talking user interviews, feedback tickets, social media comments, data polls. It's a nightmare. So what did we do to manage all this complexity? Well, we created more complexity. We invented all these hyper-specialized roles. Instead of just a builder, now you've got product managers, interaction designers, content designers, researchers. The list goes on. And all this organizational bloat, it just created more friction and slowed everything down even more. So LinkedIn looked at this crisis of complexity and decided to do something completely different. They're collapsing the stack and going back to a model that looks a lot more like true craftsmanship. They're calling this new archetype for the AI era the full stack builder. The whole idea here is to empower one person, or a tiny, super nimble pod. Think of them like the Navy SEALs of product development, to build an entire experience from start to finish. It's not this rigid step-by-step assembly line. It's more like a fluid dance between a really skilled human and their AI copilot. Now, this is where it gets really interesting because it completely redefines the division of labor. The builder, the human, gets to focus on what humans are uniquely good at: the vision, the empathy, communication, creativity, and probably most important of all, judgment. And everything else, the tedious, the repetitive, the data crunching, the goal is to just automate it. So the big question is, how do you actually make this a reality? Because it's definitely not about just buying a few off-the-shelf AI tools and calling it a day. LinkedIn's approach is a massive, company-wide effort built on 3 really important pillars. Let's break down how this whole thing is constructed. First, you have to build the right technical foundation. That's the platform. Then, layered on top of that, you build your custom tools and agents. And finally, the glue that holds it all together, and frankly the most crucial piece, is the culture. Okay, pillar 1, platform. This required a huge investment to get the technical foundation just right. One of the biggest things LinkedIn learned was that those generic off-the-shelf AI tools, they just don't work on complex legacy systems. You have to literally re-architect your code base so that an AI can actually make sense of it. Next up, tools and agents. They built an entire team of specialized AI agents, with each one being an expert in a very specific domain. See, you can't just plug in a generic chatbot. You have to build agents that deeply understand your company's unique context, its data, and its ways of working. For example, check this out. They have a trust agent that automatically flags potential vulnerabilities in a product spec. They've got a growth agent that can critique a business idea based on LinkedIn-specific growth models. And their research agent? It's like an instant expert that's been trained on every piece of user research and every support ticket the company has ever had. And the results are pretty amazing. Their maintenance agent, which is designed to spot and fix bugs in code, now automatically resolves almost 50% of all failed code builds with 0 human intervention. I mean, that is a massive, massive productivity boost. But here's the thing. Having the best platform and the smartest AI tools, that's just table stakes. The most critical and by far the hardest part of all of this is actually rewiring the culture of the entire organization. Just launching a bunch of new AI agents and then hoping people will use them is a total recipe for failure. Think about it. Most people are too busy to take time out of their day to learn some new tool that's maybe only pretty good when it first launches. You have to be way more deliberate than that. So what did LinkedIn do? They followed a really methodical process. First, they redefined their performance reviews to actually reward AI fluency. Then, they created these exclusive pilot pods to generate some FOMO and create success stories. They launched new training programs, and they celebrated every single win, big or small, publicly to build momentum. And you know what? It's working. You have people breaking out of their traditional job silos in ways that just weren't possible before. There was this one case where a user researcher used the new AI tools to become a growth product manager. That's a career jump that proves these new skills can completely transcend old job titles. Now, of course, a change this big and this radical, it wasn't easy. It didn't happen overnight. LinkedIn learned some really tough but valuable lessons along the way that any company trying to do this needs to hear. All right, so here are the 4 hard-won lessons. First, you have to build custom solutions. Off-the-shelf stuff just won't cut it. Second, data quality is everything. Don't just dump all your messy data in. You have to feed the AI curated golden examples. Third, it's going to be your top performers who jump on this first. And finally, you have to actually formalize this with a new career path to make the change permanent. What this model really points to is a future where your job title, whether it's product manager or designer or engineer, matters a whole lot less than your simple ability to build things. And that leaves all of us with a pretty crucial question to think about. As the old roles start to fade away, are you getting ready to become a builder?